Life speaks. It speaks through struggles and success, through music and messages, the preconceived and the unexpected. Whether you are in the depths of the valley or in the midst of your mountaintop experience, everyone needs to be encouraged from time to time. You've tuned in to ALH Broadcasting, and this is Andrea L. Hines, your host for When Life Speaks. I'm glad you accepted the invitation to connect with us as we share stories of strength, testimonies of triumph, observations, and information meant to touch the heart and uplift the soul. There's something in this broadcast just for you, and if it's a blessing to your life, it just may be for someone else as well. So tag, share, invite someone, then turn down the volume of life and get ready to receive, so that when life speaks, you speak life. Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Andrea L. Hines, and you have tuned in to When Life Speaks, and I just welcome you this evening. I hope you have had a good day today, and I hope you've had a good week so far. You got another day before the weekend, but I am just very, very happy that you chose to spend some time with me this evening. We have had a wonderful series going. We have had a series called The Art of Aging, and we have touched on some very, very interesting topics. We have touched on things about communication. We've touched on things having to do with caregiving. We have touched on things that had to do with dating then and now. And I tell you, it has been very, very interesting, very interesting. And I'm just happy that we have an opportunity to cover the series again. Hey there, Francina, how are you doing this evening? Hope you are well, and we want to share this. And anybody else out there who is hiding on the back line, if you want to share this episode, please be sure to feel free and do exactly that. Tonight, I have I called it a different kind of love story, because last week we were talking with Hyacinth. I'm getting ready to call her Thompson, but that is not her last name, her new last name. And I think it's China. I'm not sure, but she and her daughter were on, and we talked about the issue of dating, online dating in this day and age. And we also had an opportunity to talk about blending families, and when you have adult children, what that looks like for them when their parents are getting married. So we had a real good talk, a real good conversation, lots of laughter, lots of humor. We just had a fun time last Thursday. But tonight, I have a different kind of love story to share with you. I was hoping that my guest could be with me tonight. Unfortunately, she is not able to be here this evening, but I asked her if I had permission, if she would give me permission to share her story, and she said, go ahead. She didn't mind at all, so that's what I'm going to do tonight. Now, you know, they always say nobody can tell your testimony like you can. So I miss you. I miss you, lady. Her name is Marilyn Jennings Temple, and she and I have been friends for a very, very long time. Hey, Miss Ida, so glad to have you on the line tonight. I've missed you guys. But Marilyn and I have been friends for a really long time. We have been the ups and downs and all kinds of things that happen, good news, bad news, the whole deal. And I'm going to see, if you all don't mind, I'm going to see if I can can ring her very, very quickly. And if she can, try and get her on the air here. I would sing a song like Muzak does or something like that, but I can't. I just can't do it, y'all. I just can't do it. Let's see. Let me put here tune in to ALH broadcasting on Facebook. Okay, hopefully she can get in and get on because I'd love for her to be on tonight. Uh, Angie, oh, hey lady, how you doing? Good to have you. Also, and Pastor Kelvin, my son, my pastor friend, my confidant, my prayer partner, all those things. Good evening to you. Glad to have you on the line tonight. Now, I tell you what, as I share her story, you got any questions or anything you want to comment on about it, just feel free to put it in the comment section because she and I will indeed hook up a little later. So I didn't know whether to start her story in the middle and then jump to the very, very beginning, or start at the end and go back because it definitely is a story of strength and a testimony of triumph in different areas, not just from the love perspective, but from her life perspective. So I think I will start by saying that, when we were talking, I was telling her about the previous show and how we had been discussing things about dating and how different it is now, and things that you wanted when you were younger that you don't want anymore, how your priorities change over time, and that makes what you're looking for and who you're looking for look a lot different than it did when you were younger. And we started talking, and I don't want to say too much because I need this to fit right. But when she was 13 years old, she said her mom let her keep company. You all have anybody on the line old enough to remember when they talked about keeping company? Well, her mom let her keep company with a young man who was 16 years old. And he lived about a block away. He lived right down the street. And she said on Sunday evenings, he would come by the house and they would watch television for a while. And then he would walk home. And I said, well, what happened to him? What happened with that? And she said, prom. And I said, well, what happened with prom? And she said, well, he really wanted to go to prom and he was going to have to take someone else because I wasn't old enough to attend. Remember, she's only 13 and he's in high school. So he said he didn't feel right about seeing her, keeping company with her, and yet taking somebody else to the prom. And I said, well, the prom was only one night. So where'd he go? What happened after that? And she said, well, we just drifted apart. He went his way and I went my way. And just over the years, we just lost touch and lived our lives. I said, okay, I get it. I understand. And then she said, we jumped forward to 1971. And in 1971, she got married. She got married to a young man named Jim. She's in her early 20s. And she moved from Sanford, Florida, which was definitely small town living. Everybody knew everything and everybody else. And she wanted to get away from that. So she married Jim and moved to DC, which is where I was living. Well, the marriage was short-lived. And within 2 years, because it was 1973, they decided to file for divorce. Now, in 1973, while they were in the midst of that, and she was in the midst of that, I was introduced to her. A co-worker said that she would be, she just thought we would get along. She thought we'd be good friends. And Marilyn called me, and we talked and we talked and we talked, and we realized we had a number of things in common. And we made a date. We said we were going to get together that Saturday, and we were going to go to lunch, and we were going to go shopping, and we were just going to have a good time. And she had told me that she was, in the midst of divorce and all that, and we just, had a good time chatting. Well, that Saturday came, and no Marilyn. I didn't hear from her. I didn't get a call from her. I didn't see her. Uh, and I was hot. Now I didn't have Jesus and I didn't have the same relationship we have now. So I was mad. I was hot as a firecracker. I thought, how could we make that kind of connection and then you don't even call, you don't say anything? What was up? So when I got to work that morning, that Monday morning, the lady who had introduced us, she said, she just said Marilyn. And I said, let me tell you about Marilyn. I said, Marilyn stood me up. She didn't call. She didn't. I'm just rambling and, railing about, what had happened. And Harriet, her name was Harriet. Harriet said, get your coat. And I said, get my coat. And she said, yes. Marilyn was struck by a car and she's in the hospital. And I tell you, if I never learned another lesson, I learned that day. Always find out what is going on with people before you make any judgment, before you get angry, before you say things that you can't take back. Find out, get the information first. So she and I were talking about what happened that day. And she said that the car just backed in to where she was putting cars in the back of the automobile behind the driver's seat. The car backed into her, rolled over her, and dragged her. And I thought, oh my goodness, she has no family. She's in the midst of a divorce. And this, let me tell you, this is definitely a story of strength because she was in a body cast for a year, for a solid year. And we talked every day for a solid year. And that's really how we became friends, was talking on the phone every day. So she managed to get through that. It was the kind of accident that even now, the doctor had told her then there will come a day when this will go wrong and that will go wrong and this will, and you can remember this accident because of everything that had happened. But we laughed every day. We joked every day. We talked about the stories every day and what was going on at work every day. And in 1974, she finally came out of that body cast and she went home, stayed with her mom for a while. Um, Always had the intent to go back to Sanford and take care of the house, take care of her mom. And her mother had 5 children, which she raised alone because Marilyn's dad was killed in service to his country. So she wanted to make life easier for her mom. So she came up to D.C. and she stayed for a while. And while she was here in '78, she had gotten her divorce and everything. In '78, she met George Jennings, and they got married. And she went back to Sanford to keep her promise, to take care of her mom, make sure that the house was uh, fixed up, and that her life would be easier. And she kept her word. She did that, and she loved doing it. Now let's fast forward. We fast forward 29 years. And after 29 years of marriage, that's when Marilyn decided that they would divorce. Things were not working out. And so she divorced George. And I asked her at that point, I said, did you ever want to remarry? Did you ever want to get married again? And I know some other people who have been married for upwards of 20 years, and the same thing, they ended up divorcing. And life goes on, life gets better most of the time, and sometimes it doesn't. But I was not that person. When I divorced, I thought this was interesting, this whole marriage thing, but I don't think I want to do this again. And I never, while she and I had one thing in common during that time period, right after divorce, uh, I never wanted to remarry, but she always did. But both of us didn't want to be alone in our later years in life. Well, I said, well, Marilyn, what did you do? What did you decide to do with yourself during this time? And she said, I prayed. I said, okay, that works. That works. She said, I prayed. And she said, I prayed. I let God know I didn't want to grow old alone. And she said, and I wrote it down because I didn't want to misquote this. She said, God, if you have a husband for me, send him. Now, look, this is for all you out there who want to be married, okay? This is good prayer right here. If you have a husband for me, send him. Let him call me on the phone. Let him ring my doorbell. Don't let him be a drinker or a gambler. And guess what happened 6 months later? Enter Everett Temple. Remember the 16-year-old that she was keeping company with when she was 13 years old? Yep, Everett Temple came back into the picture. He came back. He had his life together. He got everything straight. And guess what? They got married. They got married. Pastor Pastor Kelvin, I don't know about you. Pastor Kelvin said specifics. Be specific. What you want to ask him, be real clear, right? But he did. He came back into her life, and they've now been married 13 years. Later in life, love later in life, and it can be a beautiful thing. But here's the other piece of that. When she prayed that prayer, she also asked God, I want us to have at least a good 20 years. She said she wanted to have the kind of uh, marriage that was a good partnership, that that just worked. No lot of fighting and all the other things that go along with marriages when they are on the rocks, as they say. But that's what she said. She asked God to give them, just a good 20 years. So they went on, they did premarital counseling, and they did all of that. And apparently, when you get a driver's license where she was, get a marriage license where she lives, you only have 90 days. And the pastor that was counseling them said to her, "You are dragging your feet, and I don't know why you're dragging your feet." He said, "You all are very compatible," and he went through all the things that were good. And he said, "You're dragging your feet." And she asked Everett, "Do you think I'm dragging my feet?" And he said, "Yeah, I do. I really do." So they ended up getting married one day before that 90 days was up. And they have been happily married for the last, I think this will be their 13th year anniversary. After they got married, they were just talking one evening. And he told her, "I asked God," this was after they were dating and everything, and he said, and she also said, I didn't want to leave this out, that from the first time that he called her, they talked every day, every single day, and they pray every morning. They pray together every morning. And he said that he prayed and asked God, "Give us 20 good years." He had no idea that she had been praying the same prayer about the 20 good years. But God knew. Boy, I like that story. I love that story. I don't care. I don't care how old you are. Like Pastor Calvin said, be specific, but go to God. Go to God. Tell him what you want. Don't play with it. You can tell it. He already knows. He knows anyway. And as long as I had known her, there's some things about this story that I didn't know. I didn't realize all the things about the prom and it, because when I was talking to her, I said, "Well, let me just kind of interview you, and if you don't mind, tell the story for you." I didn't realize that. I didn't realize the timing. I didn't realize. Just think, she prayed that prayer, and 6 months later, that call comes, and it comes from somebody that you had a relationship with, and probably if the age difference hadn't been there, or who knows what might have happened. But I tell you what, when she said he had been praying for 20, about them having a good life for 20, at least 20 years, and you've been praying the same thing and neither of you knew. Oh my goodness, that's the kind of love I like. That's the kind of love story I like. Boy, I tell you. So when I told her I was doing this show, and I said, "Marilyn, I would love for you to come on with me and share that." And we had everything lined up, but then life does what it does. So she wasn't able to be here tonight. But I pray that at some point in time you will have the opportunity to meet my friend. because she really, when she was ill and when she managed to keep her spirits up, and she said that they didn't even want her to have a mirror or anything because the tire tracks were across her face. I mean, he really, literally ran over her. And just think, you're in the midst of a separation leading to divorce, but his parents took care of her for that year. Can you imagine? That's a love right there that they had for her. She could have had nowhere to go, really nowhere to go, nobody to take care of her. But her in laws stepped in and they took good care of her that entire time. That entire time. And we laugh about things and things that we talked about. And things that we hoped for and all of that during that year. But I am thankful every single day that God connected us, connected us as friends and connected us as confidants and people that, she can depend on me, I can depend on her. We may not talk to each other every day, but let me tell you, she's my buddy. I had two very good friends. I lost Gloria, transitioned, went home to live with went home to be with the Lord last year, and Maryland, and we always joked about it. And I said he kept me out of trouble because he took my two best friends and put one on the West Coast and one on the East Coast. So, but he always knows what he's doing. He always knows what he's doing. I hope you enjoyed that story tonight. I'm sorry that she couldn't be here, but I know she would if she could. Um, but it just goes to show: be anxious for nothing. Talk to the Lord. Tell him. You might as well be honest with him. You might as well not put on a mask with him. He knows anyway, and he knows what you need, and he knows exactly when you need it. Look at that timeline. I mean, look at that timeline. And then in her 50s, she meets and ends up marrying someone from when she was just barely a teenager. And they're happy. Now, I take that back. They are not happy. They have joy. She told me today, she said, happy is temporary, but joy is forever. Joy is forever. And I did ask her, what's the secret? I said, you've been married more than once. What is the secret with you and Leon? Well, when they first got married, she said they still went to marriage counseling. She said that we'd both been single for a very long time and just wanted to make sure we were headed in the right direction and keeping things on track and on task. She said, but other than that, it's the fruit of the Spirit. She said, we want to practice the fruit of the Spirit through the rest of our lives: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, self-control, and gentleness. She said, we wake up every day and we decide that's how we're going to treat each other. That's how we're going to live our lives. That's how we're going to handle the things that come our way. Hey, they can't go wrong. They can't go wrong. Ooh, I just love it. I love a good love story, especially for the seniors in the bunch. I hope you enjoyed that tonight. You know, it's an E2 segment when we do these and I don't have a guest on with me. I hope you enjoyed it as well. I hope you were encouraged by it. I hope that you it gave you, as long as I've known Marilyn, it just warmed my heart, because I know a lot of her story outside of what I shared with you tonight. But she's an amazing lady. She is an amazing lady, and I just am so glad that joy is there for her. So if you're looking for a mate and you want to be married, as Pastor Kelvin said, be specific. Tell the Lord about it. And guess what? He knows how to answer a prayer better than anybody I know. So that's all I have for you tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Angie said, yes, there's hope. Ida says she loves happy endings. So do I, Ida. There's so much that's going on and so much that turns our world inside out sometimes. But I tell you what, this it's just good to know. It's good to know when God's got you, he's got you. That's it. Francine said the story was amazing. There's still hope for those who still want to marry. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. You tell the Lord about it, take your hands off of it and let him do what he does. How about that? How about that? Well, that's all I had for you tonight. Next week, I'm not sure where we're going to go. I don't know whether we're going to have, I think I have one more segment in this art of aging. And I would just suggest you come on back. You never know. You never know. Might be something that you might need a pen and paper for next week. But come on back. Be with us. We'll be right here at 7 p.m. for another edition of When Life Speaks. And when you come back, get ready to turn down the volume of life, all that stuff that you have to deal with all the time. Turn down the volume of life and then get ready to receive so that when life speaks, you speak life. Good night, everybody.